Hey guys, Andrew Shrout. I'm here in the sideboard with Jared Boettcher. How's it going, Jared?
Great.
So you showed up for the Invitational with one of the spiciest Legacy brews I think I've ever seen. You've shown up with Grixis Painter. So tell me a little about just what's going on with this deck and why you chose to play it.
A little bit of everything's going on. It's got the typical Painter Servant Grindstone, but it also has like Senses Divine top counterbalance because our counterbalance curve is insane. It just has basically everything you could want in a deck. Also, it's Goblin Welder.
Right, yeah, there's just, I call this deck Grixis Painter because that's the closest I could come up with to what it is at its core, but of course, the Painter Servant Grindstone package, it's almost like an afterthought. There actually are only 2 Painter Servants and 1 Grindstone, which you just kind of eventually find when you're good and ready, I suppose.
Yeah, it's basically almost a backup plan, but it's also your main plan. You just have to figure out how you can set it up through everything else, and if it's good enough in that game state that you're in currently.
Right. Okay. So if your main game plan, if you're not just like jamming 4 of each combo piece, then you've got a couple of other engines, I suppose, that kind of tie the deck together. Primarily, you have 4 Sensei's Divining top, and then the 3 counterbalance. You've got the counterbalance top package. So would you say that's kind of the glue that holds the deck together?
It definitely helps because it gives us like all the time we need to set up. Once we have it stable, assuming they don't have like Goyfs rampant or anything, we can just infinitely buy time because our curve is great for the counterbalance.
Sure.
So the more time a combo deck has to kill somebody, the better the deck is, obviously.
Okay, yeah, so just kind of stretching the game out. Yeah, you have 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Force of Will, just kind of good cards in that sense, so to make the game last longer, to answer your opponent's cards. 3 Baleful Strix, always a good way to stretch a game out, kind of a roadblock that digs you deeper into your deck. You also have 3 Goblin Welder. Now imagine that kind of that triumvirate there: Goblin Welder, Baleful Strix, Sensei's Divining top, which does fancy things with Welder. Tell me a little about Goblin Welder in particular.
Goblin Welder is probably one of the top cards of the deck. There's just so much synergy and lets you to play around and manipulate your deck to how you need to win any sort of game. Like against Delver decks, every time they flip, you can switch your Engineered Explosives out for Strix and just keep drawing cards.
Right.
It's everything.
Okay, and of course it is also replacement copies of your win condition, Painter and Grindstone, if they deal with those.
Correct.
So actually is everything in this matchup. That's fair. It is also an ensnaring bridge in this matchup. You got a lot of kind of fun ofs, I would say. Of course, you have the 1 Grindstone, but you also have 1 ensnaring bridge, and this one got me a little excited. 1 main deck Dak Faden.
Greatest thief in the multiverse.
Oh, okay. Well, sure. Yeah, Dak Faden is the greatest thief in the multiverse. So you had to play him then. How's that card been for you?
He's the one time I did get to cast him, I was able to Faithless Loop multiple times to be able to set up better Welders, better Academy Ruins, everything. Other than that, I've had to board him out because I played against 5 Hymn to Torok decks today, and he's just not good when he's already no card advantage.
Sure, that's fair. I did hear a story about Dak Faden getting away with a pretty good heist.
My opponent's playing Jund. He goes to cast Liliana. I blind counterbalance trigger and reroll Dak Faden.
All right. So your 3 mana Planeswalker trumped his then in that case.
Yeah, it stole the game for me.
There we go. Dak Faden. Always stealing games. Okay, so you mentioned you have played against a lot of Hymn to Torok decks. Is that a matchup that you were hoping to face?
No.
No, okay.
I don't think the matchup's very good because whenever they can keep us off just the top of our deck, even though it's very strong, we want to be able to have cards and manipulate and work around.
Sure.
Rather than them play a guy, him to Torok your hand, and then continue on from there.
Sure. Okay, but you're also 6-0 against it?
I have beaten every Hymn to Torok deck, only losing 1 game to them, so yes.
Nice. Okay. So I guess the answer to what you're hoping to play against is Hymn to Torok decks, apparently. But what are you not hoping to play against with this deck?
I think any Storm combo deck because they're faster than us.
Okay.
Elves might be a bit faster too, and when I came into this tournament, I did not want to play against Bug Delver or Hymn to Torok decks.
Right. Okay. All right. So basically, other kind of unfairish decks. This deck doesn't really feel unfair. I guess it's more like a control deck than a combo deck.
Yeah, it's like a control deck with a backup package.
Okay. So basically, combo decks that are more of a dedicated combo than you are probably the bad matchup.
Yes.
Okay. Luckily for you, you're not going to have to deal with any more Legacy decks with this deck because you are advancing on to the top 8 where you will play Standard for the rest of the tournament.
Yep.
I'm trying to jinx you. Of course, there is one round left to be paired. Strange things can happen. There's a possibility you don't make it, but my prediction is you're locked up for a top 8. So kind of a premature congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for sitting down with me, Jared.
No problem.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming of the Invitational here in Columbus.